Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at a gang of criminals, including one who was sporting a full face tattoo, has been jailed for 147 years after they were caught trying to flood Britain's streets with Class A drugs. Tattooed Ben Monaghan, 35, was a member of an organised crime gang who ran an intricate network of couriers and dealers across the UK. Liam Stray, 37, Paul Bush, 38 and Stuart Bailey, 33 were in charge of 17 men and women who transported and sold drugs. Detectives found regular arrangements for the purchase of 71% purity cocaine from Luton and Manchester before being transported to Northampton. East Midlands Special Operations Unit uncovered that the gangsters diluted down the drug with dangerous chemicals to push onto the streets. EMSOU bust the UK scheme with help from Northamptonshire, Bedfordshire and Greater Manchester Police and recovered £85,000 in cash as well as 125 grams of heroin. In total, 32 courier runs by the couriers run by Mr. Stray and Mr. Bush were linked to the Luton area, which would have supplied in excess of £21 of high purity cocaine with a street value of £4 million. A further 3 drugs exchanges were identified between Mr. Bailey and a Manchester group with an estimated exchange of £3.3 of cocaine. Mr. Stray of Earls Barton, Northamptonshire was jailed for 12 years and 8 months at Northampton Crown Court. Mr. Bush of Rushden, Northamptonshire was caged for 12 years and Mr. Bailey of Raunds, Northamptonshire received 10 years and 8 months behind bars. All the defendants except Tony Bolton, 42 of Rushden and Brian Kingsnorth, 33 of Corby, Northamptonshire admitted conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Mr. Kingsnorth was found guilty and Mr. Bolton admitted a different charge of money laundering. They were jailed with 15 other defendants for a total of 112 years and 3 months. Sentencing the gang, Judge Michael Fowler said, "Drugs kill people. They ruin lives, not just those who take them, but for the lives of their families. All of you know that. Many know, as you've seen through your own lives, what drugs do to people and families. It is a deep-seated problem, made probable because people like you continue to feed flames, too greedy and shallow to balance desire for easy money against damage you do. What makes your actions particularly stupid is penalties are so great it makes no sense to risk it for the short-term benefit you get money from. It's plain some of you are just bad." So what are your thoughts about this drug dealing gang and how they went on to receive a combined total of 147 years behind bars? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us and until next time, stay safe. Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at 5 men who have been jailed for a total of 135 years after being convicted of killing 23-year-old Reese Ottaway in Northampton. Cameron Higgs, aged 20, Jordan Crowley, also known as Jordan Kimpton, aged 21, Alfie Drake, 20, and Addison Smith, 20, were given life sentences for Reese's murder. Ethan Sterling, aged 22, was given a 14-year sentence after being found guilty of manslaughter. Their 6-week trial heard how Mr. Crowley had previously bought cannabis from Reese before the 5 defendants came up with the plan to rob him of drugs and cash. After bursting into his flat at Cordwainer House in Byfield Road, the group attacked Reese with weapons including a machete, knife, BB gun and a baseball bat. Despite the best efforts of his friends, police and paramedics, Reese died at the scene. Sentencing the 5 at Northampton Crown Court, Judge Adrienne Looking said, "All 5 of you joined in a conspiracy to rob Reese Ottaway, expecting him to have received a delivery of drugs and possess up to £30,000 in cash. Reese Ottaway was seen by your group as a rival drug dealer. As a group you attacked him, inflicting 22 wounds, of which 3 were fatal and other injuries." She added she was satisfied Reese was never in possession of a knife during the incident. Speaking outside court, Senior Investigating Officer Detective Chief Inspector Joe Banfield of the EMSOU Major Crime Team said, "I would like to commend Reese Ottaway's family and friends, particularly his parents and step-parents, for the dignified way they have conducted themselves throughout the trial. It has been an extremely difficult time for them, made more difficult at times due to the attitude and behaviour of the defendants of some of those who attended court in support of them. No one is making excuses for Reese's lifestyle or how he chose to make his money. 5 other young men have quite rightly been sent to prison and will spend the rest of their youth and a significant part of the rest of their lives behind bars. A successful outcome demonstrates the ability of Northamptonshire Police to respond to and investigate the most serious crimes committed within our county. My team, the reviewing lawyer and 2 counsel engaged on this case, have worked tirelessly to bring these young men to justice, and sentences are the culmination of a high-quality 9-month-long investigation. Lastly, I hope these sentences send a very loud and clear message to those that believe they can make money by taking from others, and those that see the carrying and use of knives as acceptable. Mr. Higgs of Chestnut Close, Milton Masor, was sentenced to custody for life with a minimum term of 28 years for murder and 12 years for conspiracy to commit robbery, to be served concurrently. Mr. Crowley, also known as Mr. Kimpton of Sam Harrison Way, Duston, was jailed for life with a minimum term of 34 years for murder and 11 years and 3 months for conspiracy to commit robbery, to be served concurrently. He was also sentenced to 2 extended sentences totaling 15 years, to be served concurrently, for 2 counts of grievous bodily harm with intent for his part in a machete attack on the man in Northampton's Eastern District, and an attack in Wellington Borough Road, Northampton, where a man was slashed in the face with a knife. Mr. Drake of Clover Street, Upton, was sentenced to custody for life with a minimum term of 28 years for murder and 13 years and 6 months for conspiracy to commit robbery, to be served concurrently. A suspended sentence for Mr. Affray was also activated, to be served concurrently. Mr. Smith of No Fixed Address was sentenced to custody for life with a minimum term of 31 years for murder and 12 years for conspiracy to commit robbery, to be served concurrently. Mr. Smith was also sentenced to 10 years and 9 months with an extended licence period of 3 years and 4 months for 1 count of grievous bodily harm with intent, and a total of 4 years and 4 months, also to be served concurrently, after admitting trying to smuggle heroin, cannabis and 3 mini mobile phones into Bedford Prison. Mr. Sterling of Bulkerwell Court, Lumbertubs, was sentenced to 14 years for manslaughter and 14 years after he was convicted for conspiracy to commit robbery, to be served concurrently. So what are your thoughts about these 5 men who were sentenced to a total of 135 years combined for the murder of Reese Ottaway? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe. Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at a group who brought crack cocaine and heroin into Staffordshire from Birmingham have been jailed for a total of 36 years. West Midlands Regional Organised Crime Unit set up an operation which ran to tackle those responsible for a county lines operation which was bringing Class A drugs from Birmingham into Burton-upon-Trent. Detectives made arrests and targeted properties, as well as piecing together evidence from phones and CCTV to secure the convictions. Faizan Khan, 31, of Longbridge, Birmingham, had the leading role in the operation and was sentenced to 8 years, 7 months after pleading guilty to conspiracy to supply heroin and crack cocaine. Others who played a significant role also pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply heroin and crack cocaine were Taylor Burns, jailed for 3 years and 2 months, Ronan Blake, jailed for 3 years, Ishran Rashid, jailed for 2 years and 6 months, and Zeba Khan and Mustafa Nazir, jailed for 20 months, suspended for 2 years and 22 months respectively. Detective Sergeant Steve Scholar of WMROCU said this group was working together to bring quantities of heroin and crack cocaine into Burton from Birmingham. We will not tolerate drug dealing in Staffordshire, and we will continue to build on the recent success of our county lines and disrupt operations, as well as acting on intelligence gathered to bring offenders before the court. All 13 people were jailed at Stafford Crown Court by Judge Salmon. The following pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply heroin and crack cocaine. Faizan Khan, 31, of Maryshaw Road, Longbridge, sentenced to 8 years and 7 months. Taylor Burns, aged 20, of Richmond Road, Steshford, sentenced to 3 years and 2 months. Zeba Khan, aged 32, of Highfield Road, Alum Rock, sentenced to 20 months suspended for 2 years. Mustafa Nazir, aged 27, of Inglefield Road, Stekford, sentenced to 22 months. Ishran Rashid, 23, of Cromwell Street, Ladywood, sentenced to 30 months. Ronan Blake, aged 20, of Latelow Road, Deptford, sentenced to 3 years. Tahir Qasim, aged 30, of Solfield Road, Edgbaston, sentenced to 3 years and 7 months. Curtis Grant, aged 20, of Fernbank Road, Alum Rock, sentenced to 16 months. Liam Harding, aged 24, of Audley Road, Deptford, sentenced to 3 years and 2 months. Stephen Davison, aged 31, of Church Gresley, Swanleycote, sentenced to 12 months plus a further 29 months for an unrelated Derby indictment. Samir Khan, aged 23, of Highfield Road, Alum Rock, sentenced to 30 months. Jason Hutton Attenborough, aged 19, of Mary Road, Stekford, sentenced to 18 months. Maurice Reed, aged 50, of the Cloisters, Burton, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of permitting supply of controlled drugs on premises. He received a 12-month community order. Thor Wright, aged 31, of Shakespeare Road, Burton, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of permitting supply of controlled drugs on premises. He received a 41-week sentence, suspended for 12 months. So what are your thoughts about this Birmingham to Burton drugs conspiracy, which saw 15 people sentenced? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe. Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at 5 people who made a total of £1 million from drug dealing and have been jailed for a total of 20 years for pushing cocaine and heroin in Lambeth. 4 of the defendants, Zachary Steele, Zoe Hodges, Andrew Jackson and Dexter Steele, appeared at Woolwich Crown Court and were sentenced as follows. Zachary Steele, aka Pimpy, 31, of Lewisham High Street, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs and money laundering. He was sentenced to a total of 5.5 years in prison. Zoe Hodges, 26, of Matlock Gardens, Chame, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs and money laundering. She was sentenced to a total of 4 years imprisonment. Andrew Jackson, 31, of Tintern Street, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A. He was sentenced to a total of 5 years and 3 months in prison. Dexter Steele, 46, of Lyme Road, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A. He was sentenced to a total of 2 years and 3 months in prison. Michelle Ives, 27, of Brighton Terrace, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A. She was sentenced at Woolwich Crown Court to 3 years in prison. Detectives from the Met Specialist Crime Division launched an investigation into the organised crime group. The gang was seen by officers to be operating a large-scale Class A supply chain from a Honda Civic, which was owned and driven by Zoe Hodges. On a typical day, the organised daily supply of heroin and cocaine would begin at 9 AM through to 4 AM the following day, providing an almost constant supply of illegal substances. The overwhelming evidence presented in court proved that the gang had been in operation for more than 2 years, netting an estimated figure of around £1 million per year. At the time of the arrests, searches of address and associated vehicles were conducted, during which officers seized £10,000 at the home of Zachary Steele and £1,000 in coins from his car. The discovery of a further key resulted in the find of 128 wraps of crack cocaine with a street value of £2,560 and 301 wraps of heroin with a street value of £3,010. The trial against Michelle Ives commenced at Woolwich Crown Court, where the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict on all counts. All 5 defendants were initially remanded in custody for sentencing, but Miss Ives was later released on bail. Detective Constable Martin Reeder said drugs were ordered by customers on a dedicated mobile phone line. When manning the phone line, Zoe Hodges would call herself Stacy and Zachary Steele would use the name Apple or Apps. The drugs would then be delivered at a low visibility meeting places to the buyers. The supply was delivered on a pretty much constant basis, effectively around the clock. So what are your thoughts about this Lambeth-based drugs operation, which saw the gang make £1 million a year? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.